right. Now, I just mentioned how Karen Bass is having another hissy fit. Again, she wasn't mad at anybody during the Palisades fire. Wasn't mad at, let's say Janice Quinones for leaving the reservoir empty, right? But she's mad at the Trump administration because Don Lemon is getting prosecuted. Why would she give a crap about Don Lemon? Well, he got arrested in Beverly Hills and for storming into a church with a group of protesters in Minneapolis. Now, he claims he was a journalist covering the protest, but there were people who were trying to enjoy the religious service, and they had all these hooligans coming in there. The assistant pastor had some connection to ICE, they said, and so that means the religious followers can't enjoy their service in peace, which actually potentially could violate several federal laws. And that's why Lemon got arrested, and it went before a grand jury, and a judge signed off on it, and so that's Don Lemon's problem. Karen Bass, though, is all upset. She's very upset that Don Lemon got arrested. How dare they? Well, here's once again to reinforce my point how she doesn't care about the Palisades fire victims. Here's a report from ABC7, Josh Haskell. When I saw this, I couldn't believe it. They want to make the fire victims pay for a new fire hydrant before rebuilding. Play cut 5.
As if losing your home of 34 years wasn't bad enough, the rebuilding process for Pacific Palisades residents Chris and Jeff Spitz has been anything but smooth.
Fire department came back and said, well, before we approve this permit, we need a new hydrant to be put in because you guys are more than twice the legal limit from the closest fire hydrant. And please contact LADWP to get a cost estimate for what you'll have to pay to build this and install this new fire hydrant.
It was so shocking that I was nauseated by it because our insurance certainly wouldn't have covered that.
The Spitzes felt they were being punished for wanting to rebuild. Adding to the confusion, this hydrant issue didn't come up for their neighbors who built new homes within the last 10 years before the fire.
We didn't just tear this down willy-nilly and say, oh, we want to build a brand new house. This is just trying to come back.
The closest fire hydrant to the Spitzes' home is roughly 1,000 feet away. And as you can see, all of the homes in their neighborhood, especially the homes closer to the fire hydrant, burned in the Palisades fire.
There's currently 2 fire hydrants near the Spitzes' home. One at Lombard Avenue and Via de las Olas, and one at Lombard Avenue and Friend Street.
My level of outrage is through the roof. I really can't imagine much more insulting. Something to someone that has lost their home with this kind of devastation that they need to pay to put in new fire hydrants.
Los Angeles City Councilwoman Tracy Park represents Pacific Palisades and arranged a meeting with the LAFD and LADWP last month to resolve this issue. After being stalled in the rebuilding process for 11 weeks, the Spitzes were told by their councilwoman the issue had been resolved. LADWP tells Eyewitness News they will cover the cost of installing a new fire hydrant at the price tag of $35,000. During the Palisades fire, DWP says demand for water in the Palisades reached 4 times normal use, resulting in water pressure issues that prevented water from coming out of some hydrants.
They're aware that fires happen here all the time, and in all that time, no one did anything about the fire hydrants.
LADWP also tells Eyewitness News placement of hydrants is determined by the LAFD, and that a future water main line upgrade in the Spitzes neighborhood will increase the hydrant's flow rate. Based on discussions with the LAFD, DWP doesn't anticipate that additional fire hydrants will be needed in the Palisades. But if they are, who pays for it will be determined on a case-by-case basis.
Josh Haskell, ABC7. No, this is something that the city and the DWP should always pay for. We pay taxes so you can install fire hydrants. What a bunch of bozos. Did you hear all the details in this? These poor people lost their home. They'd been in 34 years. When it's time to rebuild, it got bollocksed up for 11 weeks because Janice Quinones's LADWP wanted to charge them $35,000 to build a new hydrant or install a new hydrant. What the hell? Are they insane? All the tax money they get, all the water money they get, and all the money they get for the electric bills. We've got double the electric costs in this state compared to the rest of the country. We have high water rates and high taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, income taxes. The hydrants were all busted. Remember, there was over 1,000 of them that didn't work. Again, where's Karen Bass with this? Karen Bass was never upset that the fire hydrants didn't work. Never upset about the lousy water pressure because they never built the infrastructure in the Palisades and elsewhere in the city to handle modern-day Los Angeles. Billions and billions have been diverted to homeless people. Nothing to build a underground main line for the water. Nothing just to check on the fire hydrants and make sure they work. And 1,000 of them didn't. Not to mention the empty reservoir. 117 million gallon reservoir. Bass never talks about any of this. She's never upset. But Don Lemon gets arrested at a Beverly Hills hotel. That's worthy of an outrage statement. She's insane. Absolutely. If you were mayor and a family, your residents, your constituents, your taxpayers, house burned down, trying to rebuild the house. They're told, no, you've got to pay for the fire hydrant. Would you charge the family for the fire hydrant? Would you do that? What is the tax money for? What is the water and electricity money for that we pay in our bills every 2 months? What is that for? It doesn't buy a hydrant? So Tracy Park is the only functioning part of the Los Angeles government seems to be Tracy Park. So she arranges a meeting with the fire department and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. A meeting? Where was the fire department on this? It took 11 weeks? This is so crazy. Does everybody in city government have brain damage? Seriously, does Bass and Quinonez have brain damage? You charge a family $35,000 after you let their home burn. Bass let the Palisades burn. Quinonez let the Palisades burn. Kristen Crowley let the Palisades burn. Now it's burned. There's nothing left but ashes and rubble. Oh, you want a fire hydrant? That's $35,000. Oh, this is what people ought to be protesting about, not these stupid anti-ICE rallies. Too bad we can't get the Chinese Communist Party interested in what's happened to the Palisades homeowners. Maybe they would fund some of the some anti-Bass protests instead of this anti-ICE garbage.